Welcome, everybody. Welcome if you're on Zoom as well. We've got a mix of people who've been doing this for years, someone who's been doing it for a couple of weeks, and a couple of people who are joining us for the first time. Welcome. And I'm waving it. I should wave at the camera, not the computer. I had an analogy in mind to describe spiritual practice that I was reading about this morning. I'm just going to try it out. It may be that it's not complicated, but it probably isn't the place I would start if I was planning a beginner's practice session, but there we are. I was reading a teaching by Shigaraki Sensei, who's a Japanese Pure Land teacher. And he was describing the spiritual life as like being on a cross, not in the Christian sense, more in the mathematical sense, imagining a graph with two axes. And the vertical axes he describes as being human, trying to do the job that's in front of you, trying to do your best, trying to live with integrity, trying to keep the precepts, trying to be upright, I suppose. We say that, don't we? He's an upright citizen. That's the vertical axis. And the horizontal axis is the Dharma, which we can say is things as they are, which for a Buddhist usually means interconnectedness, sometimes even the experience of oneness, such intimacy with the thing that's in front of us that we almost feel like we know it completely, we know the other completely. And this is how a Buddha sees things. When they see a person, they don't just see the person. They see all the causes and conditions that come to create this particular person that's in front of them. So they're able to look with understanding, with kindness, with compassion. This sense of interconnectedness, it's like understanding that we're all part of the same ocean. Individual waves rise up and have their own characteristics, but they're all made of the same seawater. And from a Buddhist point of view, the nature of reality, or underneath the material world, is love. The world is shot through with love. The world itself is full of impermanence and suffering and difficulty. And when we're enlightened, we also see that love is everywhere. So this is the graph, the kind of human experience of attempting to stay upright in a difficult world. And the horizontal experience, knowing or experimenting with this idea that there is a field of love that contains us all. And of course, in the attempt to stay upright, in the attempt to keep the precepts, in the attempt to live a good life, we fail over and over again. We fail in small ways and sometimes in large ways. This is part of how it is to be human. Sometimes we're kind, sometimes we're cruel, not often intentionally, but it happens. And if we have a spiritual practice, what we discover in those moments of failure is that we can be caught by this field of loving kindness. We can be received just as we are. For a long time on the A board outside, we had a little haiku by another Japanese priest called Inagaki, and it said simply, just as you are. Really, just as you are. When you're in your worst moments, it can be hard to really accept that there is some field of loving kindness that is still reaching out towards us, lifting us back up again so that we can attempt to be upright for the next little while. And for Pure Land Buddhists, the face of that loving kindness is Amitabha Buddha, or Amida Buddha, which is the Buddha on the shrine next to me, this mythical Buddha of unconditional love, whose name means limitless light. So one of the core practices of this tradition is saying the name of this Buddha, which we'll do together later on. And it's a reminder that whatever state we're in, whether we're succeeding or failing, there is something beyond success and failure, which is this place or this being of loving kindness that can receive us just as we are. That is the fundamental truth. Everything is messed up sometimes, but everything is illuminated by the love of the Buddhas. Sometimes we're the person reflecting that love into the world when our defenses are down and our ego is soft. The light just shines from us. That's one of the gifts of practice. And sometimes we're in the position of really needing to receive that light. And that is also one of the gifts of spiritual practice. We can be in both of these places. In a moment, we'll sit together quietly. And in that quiet, I just encourage you to place your focus on the breath, noticing the cooler air entering at the tip of the nose, the warmer air leaving. And if any thoughts or feelings or sensations interrupt that attention, just noticing them, noticing what they are, inviting them to step back, bringing awareness back to the breath. Some days, maybe our awareness is always on the breath and we just enjoy that calm and spaciousness. Sometimes the mind is busy and we only remember to pay attention to the breath once or twice. That's okay. It's all good. So we'll share doing that for some time together, and then I'll begin chanting Amitabha, the Buddha of limitless, the name of the Buddha of limitless light. And it's quite a simple tune, so just join in when you get a sense of that. And we're saying that in the spirit of reminding ourselves that the Buddha's light is always shining. So we'll just begin by sitting quietly together. Namo Amida. Amitabha. 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 Now we'll recite the Refuges and Precepts together. There's a piece of paper behind you with the words on, and I will copy a link into the chat if you're on Zoom, if you want to have the words in front of you. So the refuges, if you like, are the things, well, we take refuge in them. They're the things we attempt to put our trust in. They're the things that catch us when we fall. There's the Buddha, which means the historical teacher. It also means all awakened beings. It's that idea that we can receive teachings from a source. There's the Dharma, which is both those teachings that we find written down and hear in words, and also things as they are, understanding that we can receive wisdom just by paying attention to the world around us. And the Sangha, the community of people who practice those teachings. Then we have the 5 Lay Precepts, which is our attempt to stand upright, if you like. So we'll do these, I will say them, and you can repeat them afterwards. And then we'll finish with the Bodhisattva vows, which are call and response. Sophie will recite the first part. And that's simply our aspiration to help all beings, that we might reflect some of that light into the community of beings around us. So please repeat after me. For refuge, I go to the Buddha.
For refuge, I go to the Buddha.
Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya.
For refuge, I go to the Dharma.
For refuge, I go to the Dharma.
Namo Dhammaya.
Namo Dhammaya.
For refuge, I go to the Sangha.
For refuge, I go to the Sangha.
Namo Sanghaya.
Namo Sanghaya.
With faith in the 3 jewels.
With faith in the 3 jewels.
We pray that we may not take life.
We pray that we may not take life.
With faith in the 3 jewels.
With faith in the 3 jewels.
We pray that we may not steal.
We pray that we may not steal.
With faith in the 3 jewels.
With faith in the 3 jewels.
We pray that we may not fall into sexual misconduct.
We pray that we may not fall into sexual misconduct.
With faith in the 3 jewels.
With faith in the 3 jewels.
We pray that we may not fall into wrong speech.
We pray that we may not fall into wrong speech.
With faith in the 3 jewels.
With faith in the 3 jewels.
We pray that we may avoid intoxication.
We pray that we may avoid intoxication.
Innumerable sentient beings,
we vow to save them all.
inexhaustible ardent passions,
We vow to transform them all.
immeasurable are the Dharma teachings,
We vow to master them all.
infinite is the Buddha's way,
We vow to fulfill it completely. So in a moment, we'll stand and make 3 prostrations or bows to the main shrine at the front of the room. As we're doing this, we have our hands in Anjali, or the prayer gesture. And first of all, they go above our heads. And this is to say, I'm taking refuge with my whole body. And then here in front of our mouths, I'm taking refuge with my thoughts and with my words. And here with my heart. And then we go down to kneeling if our body's allowed, and raise our hands above our head. And this is a way of both resting on the earth, resting in that sense of on the field of loving kindness, and both lifting it above our own small-mindedness. So we do that 3 times, and we'll be saying Namo Amida Bu at the same time. So it's a bit of a song and dance, but you'll get the hang of it. Namo Amida Bu is another form of the mantra we were using earlier. In gratitude, we offer this incense to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas throughout space and time. May it be as fragrant as earth herself, reflecting our careful efforts, our wholehearted awareness, and the fruits of understanding slowly ripen. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true hope. So we'll finish by back to each other, first to one side and then the other. So just to give you a clue, feet and I will both bow outwards first. So if you will bow to feet and then turn and back to Maria. But it doesn't always work out, so don't worry too much. And then that, yeah. Yeah.